Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another of my PlayStation 4 reviews. And today's review is for Subnautica. Now this is a game that's been out for a little bit of time on PlayStation 4, to be fair. But it's a game that I initially completely ignored when it was first released. I don't know what it was. I remember looking at it when it was first released, and it just didn't seem to do it for me. I don't know, the underwater setting and things, it didn't feel right, and I just never got it when it first came out. And then a few weeks ago I saw something just by chance on YouTube. I saw a review of it, and it was Skill Up. Now I'm sure many of you heard of Skill Up and watched his videos. He's an excellent game reviewer, and I watched his review of this game, and it completely sold me on it, completely. So I thought, right, I'm going to treat myself to this game. It wasn't in a sale or anything, but I think it was $24.99, so it's not exactly a full price game as it stands. And I've got to tell you guys, I am absolutely addicted to this game. What a fantastic game this is. Now, for those of you that don't know, it is an aquatic based survival game. And the general story here is you are on a spaceship orbiting like an ocean planet. The ship crash lands into the ocean, and you basically rejected in an escape pod, and it is just you on this planet initially in this escape pod, and you've got very limited supplies. You've got the ability to fabricate new supplies and new tools and equipment, but you need supplies for that, and you need to find things to be able to fabricate things. So essentially your job is to explore the ocean, get the things that you need to fabricate new tools, new equipment, new ships, subs, things like that, and ultimately to be able to build your own bases and expand your base underwater, all in the while trying to solve the mystery of this planet and where everybody is, and how to essentially, by the end, get yourself off this planet. So that's the story that keeps you running through the game. And I have to say, survival games, generally speaking, are pretty poor in regards to stories, but I found this one really fascinating and interesting, and quite gripping throughout. I mean, essentially you're given these clues. I mean, once you start the game and you fabricate a few tools like your scanner and your repair tool and things like that, you get like these radio messages and these clues to go and find these sunken escape pods and things, and you scan things to get more blueprints. But you also get these data pads that update you as to clues as to what's happened to the rest of the crew, and you really value these things that you find, because sometimes it's taken quite a bit to actually get there and find them, because while this game for the most part is truly beautiful and unique to look at, and at times it can be really chilled out and relaxing, quite a lot of the times it's incredibly tense at the same time, because there's quite a lot in this water that wants to eat you and do harm to you, and it's pretty terrifying. You can be swimming along and then you'll hear this awful roar behind you of something that's coming to try and get you, and the panic sets in then, but you need to essentially stay in that area to get the things that you need. You need things like gold and silver and lead, all these rarer things, to be able to fabricate some of the more important things that you will need in the game, and you'll go to deeper parts of the oceans to get these other blueprints that you need to be able to build and create and progress forward into the game. So you've got to kind of grind your teeth and get through these tense moments in the game. It's really quite expertly done, and it's a really addictive gameplay loop. Now, survival games as a whole, if you follow my channel at all, you know I like these, generally speaking. I find them quite entertaining. I like building games, essentially. I like that addictive loop of building something, improving on it, making it bigger, better. It's a real sense of achievement, and this game gives you a real sense of achievement anytime you do anything of significance in this game. Not just building your base, even though that's a huge sense of achievement, because it can take you sometimes 2-3 hours, maybe longer, to get to that point. But when you fabricate a new piece of equipment, or you fabricate a sub to make travelling underwater a lot easier, or you figure out how to do batteries, or you figure out the fauna in the ocean, if you go to this place, you might be lucky and find some quartz or some lead or some gold. And so every time you learn something new about the game, it feels like a real sense of achievement. But this game does not hold your hand at all. There's very little in the way of tutorials here. You've just got your fabricator, and you go out and you search the ocean for things, you bring them back, and then you see what can I fabricate, and it'll give you an idea of what you need to create a knife, or to create a fire extinguisher, or to create a battery or something like that. But if you don't scan things with your scanner, and you don't find these blueprints, then you're not going to know that these things exist to fabricate in the first place. It's very, very clever. Doesn't hold your hand, but it forces you to learn how to play the game, which is really, really rewarding. Now, as beautiful as this game is, and I think it is a truly beautiful game, there are issues with this game in regards to its optimization. It's not the best, the draw distance, things like that, and it does stick sometimes, especially when you're coming out of the water, sometimes at speed, because you're running out of oxygen. It'll stick for a second or two before you go back in the water. So there are moments like that happen in the game, but I've been playing for this for many hours now, and I have not experienced a crash or anything on my PlayStation 4 Pro yet. So it's not bad in that sense, but the draw distance and the optimization is not brilliant. It's, like I say, it's a really, really gripping story. It can creep you out at times in regards to what's in that ocean, and the fear factor is really, really fun. And the gameplay loop, like I've said, is hugely addictive if you like these sort of games. And I'm really, really pleased that I've actually played. This is arguably my favourite survival game, I think. I'm trying to think of something else that might top it, and nothing's jumping in my head right now. I just love this game. It is so relaxing but tense at the same time. Really, really rewarding to play. And I promise you, when you build your first base here, you're going to be absolutely over the moon. It's such a great sense of achievement. So you've got a few options when you play this game. You can do the standard survival mode, which is basically all guns are blazing. It's how the game mainly should be played. You've got to drink, you've got to eat, and all those things. Your oxygen levels are as they should be underwater, and all that kind of stuff. This is the part of the game. It doesn't hold your hand at all. Then you've got the freedom mode, I believe it's called, which is essentially like survival but without the food and drink element mixed into it. You never need to worry about eating or drinking. Then you've got hardcore mode. It speaks for itself, really, the hardcore mode. I think you can pretty much figure out what's going on there. And then you've got creative mode, which many of these games have, and that's essentially the story is turned off and things like that, but you can basically build and create anything you want with no restrictions. But I would recommend going in at survival mode. I think it's how the game is meant to be played, and it's a really, really fun game to play. There is no multiplayer mode, which some might see as a disadvantage. It doesn't bother me. I don't really like playing multiplayers for the most part anyway. But for a survival game, I think this is easily one of the best on the market, and for the price that I paid for it, £24.99, this probably is in a sale quite a lot in the PlayStation Store, and I've probably ignored it previously. Foolish me. But if this was £14.99 in a sale in the PlayStation Store, and you like survival games, to me this is an absolute no-brainer, even though it is well worth the full price of £24.99 in the UK. So from my perspective, I absolutely love this game. I'm really enjoying it. I'm giving it a very, very strong 9 out of 10, and it's definitely worth buying for fans of survival games. It's a lot of fun. It can be frustrating. It doesn't hold your hand. Be aware of that when you go into it. So thank you very much for watching the review. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you found it useful, and of course I'll see you back for more reviews on Screen Stars very, very soon.